Thank you. Accept it. Okay, like I said earlier, it might be useful to have a blog and band, and later I wanted to do something seated on a chair, but you can also use a couch or whatever bed, what kind of is on the level of your hip. And I want to have as a focus today in our practice just how well do I know my body today. So like I said, we have lots of different levels and exercises we can choose from, and depending on where you are today, adjust it to accordingly. I often find myself in my own practice that it's sometimes hard to accept that days are different and that I can't do everything the same every day, depending also on my energy level. Or as women, we go through cycles, as men too, but different. So let's just keep that in mind. I want to start seated, can be with the legs straight or bent, doesn't matter so much, but just for you to be comfortable. And then in the seated position, start like this. I just want you to start circling around for your hips, your ribs. Just loosening up the spine. Same to the other direction. And then we start punching the back and arching the back. I always like to connect these movements with my spine. Exhale on the rounding, inhale on the arch, if you like. And then find your way into the center and twist over the sides a few times. And that can be deep or just very easy twist. And then release the twists. And let's find a comfortable position, maybe changing the position that you sit on. Bring the hands out wide, the thumbs are up, and I just want you to rotate the thumbs all the way back in both directions to just see the full rotation of the arm with the elbow locked. Feel also like from the side you might see it better. As I go forward, the shoulders are closing. As I go backwards, the shoulders and the chest are opening. And keep the arms out wide, rounding the spine to create the rounding in the upper back, and opening, maybe even looking up to create space in the front of the chest. Just a few. Then depending on the position you chose, you want to lean to the side. You can be seated, legs forward, but we want to do a few big circles with the left arm over the head, maybe touching the ear, maybe going into like a mini side bend to the side, shortening the space between the ribs and hips. And same on the other side. Think more about length than depth in the beginning of your practice. Think about that reaching out sensation throughout your whole body. And then find an easy straddle. Make sure you are on your sitting bones. Maybe that means you have to bend the knees or maybe bringing the straddle a bit more close. In the straddle, I want you to orient your belly button over your right leg, rounding on the way up, reaching the chest forward as you go down, and rounding on the way up. Show it from the side as well. Diagonal stretch. Use the breath here as well. And let's do 3 on each leg. Then bring the knees into the chest. Hold onto the back of the legs. So you can maybe also try it with the straight legs. The feet are hovering, and I just want you to round your spine and pull your chest towards your knees. Roll so much back that you feel your boat position, then bring it back up. One more time. And release. Let's come into a standing position. In your standing position, get the feet like 45 degrees so that the knee, when you bend slightly, is going over the toes. I want you to feel what happens in the hips. When you bring the feet forward, feel also what's happening in your hips as you just bend and extend slightly. And then with the legs straight, try to do a little hip circle in both directions. And let's find a moment in a squat. And from your squat, you can place your hands down, straightening out into a forward fold. And we want to lift the leg to the side with a straight leg. Ideally, you're not bringing your shoulder all the way to the other side. So you want to stay in the center of your hand and lift the leg only as much as you keep equal weight in your hands. And we'll just do 5 on the right and 5 on the left. You can bend your legs, make this more about keeping the ribs in and feeling the push more in the ribs without moving the foundation. Same on the other side. You've done your repetitions, enjoy a moment hanging in a forward fold. And then seated or standing up. Connect the back of the wrists to a few circles in both directions. And connect the tip of the fingers and really let the hands connect. Push into the fingers and open. The elbows want to stay on the height of the fingers. Then with the fingers and the hands connected, we rotate the palm forward and towards the chest. Keep the elbows in one line with your wrists. And then shake it out. Go back to the squat again, but you can also just do it from a forward fold. If you want to connect it with the squat and the rolling, you start in the squat, you go into a forward fold, you tap 1 foot at a time to the wrist, and you come back down. If you just want to do toe taps in your forward fold, you find the foundation here and lift 1 leg at a time to the wrist. Like we talked about last week, it's really coming from the hip lifting into the hip socket. So even if you come from down low here, wait till the legs are extended and then create the pull. Just 3 times on each side. Nice. Feel it really more in your core. Nice. Like the alignment in the shoulders. And then again, forward fold or tabletop, depending also on how much weight you want to put on your wrists. We want to get the right underneath, the left on top. We want to create some rotations for the forearm when the elbow going in and out. If I'm in a forward fold, it adds a little bit more weight. On the tabletop, I can adjust the weight by also moving the shoulders forward and back. And then we switch the hands. Make sure the hands are in the center of the body and the height of the sternum as you move in and out. A few wiggles on each side is enough.
I have a question. I'm pretty like hypermobile in my elbows. So whenever I do these kind of movements, should I be kind of bending the arms? Sometimes I feel like a little twinge in my elbows.
You should only go as far as you feel good. This is more about actually using the elbow to also moving the wrist a bit. But if you can go a lot and your wrist and your elbow are in hyperextension, I would rather go less because we still want to have the connection the whole palm.
Okay.
So it's more like a mobility warm-up exercise. And like, yes, if you're in a forward fold, you give a lot of weight. So then rather do less range of motion because you have the hypermobility.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. If you want to do this on a block because your knees are sensitive or on a pillow, go ahead and do it. So I think you can also do it in a forward fold. We want to try to do this finger flick in like a kneeling position to really lift our torso up. It should be possible in a forward fold, then you're pushing yourself more into a standing position. See how much you can use. Kind of like when we're running and we go from the toes to the back of the foot. Same here. We try to go through the flick of the fingers to get ourselves all the way up. Let's just to warm up our wrists a bit better. And then we do want to still be on our knees. And if you have a slidey floor, you can even explore going from pushing the block forward, finding your straight body position, to pulling it back by using the core. If you don't have a slidey floor, you can either walk it out, but you want to take a moment and your shoulders open, your ribs pulling back and finding that nice line going from the hip to the fingertips. Or if you have like one of the rollers, that could be also nice, like a black roll or any sort of roll. It's also useful to train that by consciously opening the shoulders and pulling it in from the core. And the shoulders close because we use the whole body to pull ourselves on top. Just to give you an idea how to work on that active shoulder opening with some different exercises. 3 times is also enough. You want to hang out for a moment in the stretch. If it feels good, just make sure your shoulders are wrapping back, so they're actually in a good position to open. Yeah, I want to do one more thing for the core. You can use your block sitting on your butt, taking the block in front of the feet from right to left. You can also add a challenge by bringing the block underneath and bringing the tuck in between your hands and your block. Nice. Okay. Looking good. If you have a higher surface, meaning bed, couch, whatever you have close by, I want to work a bit on the compression standing up. You place your foot on top. You make sure that the hips and shoulders are in one line. This is not going to help you so much. So you want to get close enough. Reaching the arms up and thinking, even if you go forward, to grow as long as possible, to lean forward and keeping your hands in position with the arms next to the ears. If you do it right, in 3 repetitions, you should feel good enough to change to the other side. So imagine someone is pulling on every part of your body, on the hands, on the legs. If you need to bend the knee a bit, that's okay to keep the length. Nice. Try to make it about the core as well. I also feel this gives us a good reference when we're standing on one leg, if the center of the foot is grounded, or if we feel we're going forward and the hip slightly opens. And you can kind of observe the hip twist as well. Try just 3 forward folds on the right and left leg. Looks good. Think less going down, but more going forward. Nice. It's the same like we talked about, like in the pike when we do the going forward in a more active version, right? I can just go down and then it looks like my back is rounded, or I can go forward, forward, forward and really grow. And that's the compression that we need for most of the things we do in handstands. And you can train it in all the positions, like in straddle, we go either down or we go really forward and fold ourselves to the ground. So now I want you to use that compression when you kick up into your handstand. So you find a good alignment before you kick up. You find your L shape, either going all the way to straight. But on the way down, I want you to find what you were finding now with the higher surface. Pulling the hip in, keep pushing down, lengthening, even though you're going down, to just feel how much the core actually supports the movement. And it will also allow you to land very softly on the ground. And it's a bit a weird concept in handstands. Even though the legs go down, we still want to grow tall and push against the resistance. It's almost like a little fight against gravity. Slow motion. And take the first few handstands to arrive. Very nice. You want to keep the push on the shoulders and pull the thigh towards your ribs. Nice. So nice, Emily. Look great. Yes, keep that alignment, Eric. Looks nice. I like the control in the core. Very good. Nice, Ivana. Yes. Now you guys are all floating up and down. Super good. It's also, I feel like when people tell me to slow down, it's actually hard. So if I have things to do, like pulling my leg into my hip socket and squeezing my thigh to my belly, then I'm also slowing down, but at least I don't try to force slowing down. I just know what to do to slow it down. What you guys are all doing really well is keeping the hips on top when you come down. That also allows you to go down slow. Now try to use the same entry when you kick up to just find a moment of straight handstand. And also keep kicking from both legs. Nice, Ivana. You can let the heels come back a tiny bit more, like just straighten up more, that the knees are slightly bent. Sodass du dich oben richtig ausstreckst, quasi. Yes, nice. Good. Feel like at the end, when you arrive in your handstand, if you just think of stretching out, you will find your alignment. So use the compression to get up and then stretch out. Very nice. Nice. Looking good. Yes. Nice. So nice. Like that you do the correction very slow. Very nice. Nice. Everyone has such a straight line today. Super beautiful. Nice. Do one more if you like, or have a little break before we move on. We will do a little drill seated first. So we want to bring the feet and the knees out, kind of what we did in standing, and holding on the inside of our legs and creating a nice flat spine. My natural position would be having kind of like a rounded spine, but if I really pull myself basically just straight, not actually forward, I'm trying to grow through my head and my spine will straighten up. Like someone is grabbing you on your hair and pulling you along. I find the stretch a lot harder in my hips than with the straight legs, especially when the feet are touching down to the ground. With that in mind, still with the length in the spine, you can place your hands on the inside of your legs and keep the back nice and straight as you're touching the feet down and lifting the legs. Show it from the front as well. My hands are just here. I start, you can also do one leg at a time if both is too heavy. But what I want you to focus on is not leaning back and lifting the legs up and really keeping that nice lumbar. Even if the legs are just lifting a tiny bit, that's better than compromising your shape. Your shape from the head to the hip is your foundation that you don't want to change no matter what you do with the legs. So let's do 5 lifts. It's not so much about the arms than really using this little compression from the ribs and hips that helps you to make the legs a bit lighter. If you push a lot in the arms, for example, you also round your spine and then you would change your foundation. I'm a fan of trying the things that don't work. So I often try how it feels if I round my spine and try to lift my legs to just feel in my body how a good alignment feels. Okay, I'm going to show you different options to work on this. If you work with the back to the wall, you could kick up and work the frog position by moving one leg down at a time and then letting the knee drop and then letting the other knee come down and work on coming down. If you want to work with the belly to the wall, you walk your feet up, you find the nice straight alignment in the spine, lifting one leg up and then the other one, and then try to land down on the floor in between your hands and your wall. Or you work on jumping into your frog. From your squat, keep the spine nice and long. As you place your hands, you find your frog position here. Same on the way down. Try to land soft, keep pushing the floor away. So 3 different options. The frog is very inviting to arch in the spine. So even if you land with a slight arch, try to lengthen and pull the spine into a straight position. Nice, Ivana, looks good. Very good alignment. Nice. Not jumping back on the table, don't get hurt. Oh, you landed like a cat. It was okay. Nice. And instead of thinking to move the legs, think of focusing on your foundation. I'm going to show you the difference once when I would jump in a frog and I'm arched. I'm actually not moving the legs. I'm straightening out my spine and it looks like my legs are moving. But it really comes from my spine. I'm not, because if I start moving the legs, then it pulls me forward or back very quickly. So always think about correcting the center of the body and the legs will follow. That also goes for all the other shapes. Nice. If you have the stability in your handstand to be in like an arch position and pull yourself into a good alignment, go ahead and do that to just have that range of motion in your handstand to feel how can I pull myself from a shitty alignment into a good alignment. And just do it slow so you feel moving through the point where your body is in balance. Nice jump, Sivana. Nice. Instead of pushing the wall, Rebecca, try to really do what I also did, like pull it from here and your feet will lift off the wall. It should just come from the core. And then the feet kind of float off the wall. Nice. Yes. Nice. Relax that neck. Relax the back of the head. Nice. Yes, nice. Foundation looks good. Yes, nice, Rebecca. You had it. Super good. See if you feel like when you're falling back, can you bring it into the core and really pull yourself more to the front? I know the front gets very easily light to the back, but think of just pulling your body to the front so you don't have to twist out over the back of your shoulder so much. Nice. That's it, Eric. Nice. Yes, Ivana. Good. Yes. Cool. Everyone got the idea. Nice, Emily. Pull the ribs. Pull the ribs. Other direction. No, it was great. It's also
That's like my main problem area.
Mhm.
I'm starting to I feel like I didn't used to feel like a muscle here and here, and I do actually feel something that works now. It's just not all the time, but
It's not wrong.
I have a feeling that I didn't have before. So
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, I said that many times. Understanding the ribs was the hardest part, or I'm still understanding it, and I feel like there's still like more motion to like bring it back. But I mean, most people do have. I don't know. When I'm standing, I have like a arched lower back. So for me, correcting this felt a lot like lengthening and then pushing this back, but then pushing this back without closing. It's
mhm.
just, it's a very like fine movement. And I actually want to do something to that. It is a bit easier if you sit on something higher. I'm just going to sit on my block. You can also use 2 blocks and finding a tuck with your legs so you can lift your arms up. And here, when I'm sitting, I find it quite easy to move between straight alignment and rounding. Arching is actually quite hard for me in this position, unless I would open the knees, then arching would be easier. Try to just explore that. The straightening of the body in a way of reaching up also helps to find a straight alignment. So if I just think of pulling myself up, my body is actually quite straight. You can do the same laying down with your sacrum on the block. Find any leg shape that works for you right now. You can find your handstand arms, and here to let your body be in an arch and feel when the body is straight and when it would be too round. And the legs, again, like I showed earlier in the handstand, are just moving because I'm adjusting my hips and my ribs. And then you can try to stay a moment in the tuck position on your block, really finding a straight spine. And still being able to breathe. Feels more like there's a string between my ribs and hips, then I'm crunching my core. And if I imagine a string, I also still feel the length of my spine. So I want you to try that in your handstand from either. You can, I show you the wall first. You can kick up, find one leg in your tuck, and then guide the other leg into your tuck. And then the legs can float off the wall by using your core. You can kick into your L shape, and from there, try to find your tuck. You can also switch between L shapes and tucks. Or if you want to just work on the tuck without any jumping, you can do the belly to the wall, finding that length first, and pulling one leg at a time from the wall into your tuck. Or if it's in your practice, of course, you can jump into your tuck immediately. Try to see, this would be an arch spine. How can I pull myself? This would be to round it. And just see where your body is naturally in balance. Any other entry that you know? In the last course, we also did the frog jumps and then closing the legs into the tuck. So if that worked for you, you can also do that. Make it more about the foundation and the spine than the legs. Very nice. Looking good. Nice. If you do the tuck in a way that it's supported by the back of your body, where you feel the back of the shoulders, then you are in an integrated tuck position. I'm going to try to explain it in handstand. So there's tucks, right? My head is out, my spine is arched. I'm more in the heel of my hand. I can still balance it, but if I need to go somewhere, I would probably fall out because I would have to change the whole foundation. So I could only balance the tuck in that position. If I'm finding a tuck that's more like supported from the ribs and the whole spine, I can do anything with my legs. And it doesn't really matter because I have the foundation the same. And because my core is so in the transition, it doesn't matter where my legs are. So if you have, or if you want to challenge your tuck stability, you can also try to move your legs a bit and see if it has any impact onto your balance. Nice, so that's very strong. Nice, Ivana. Good jump. Same, Emily. Let's get. Eric, think about the shoulders. Now, in the last one, the shoulders were slightly back. And then when you jumped, you felt like you didn't make it. So you pushed your shoulders too much forward then. So be a bit more neutral in the center of your hand.
Jules, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm used to very tight tucks where I know where my legs are because they're here. But I cannot bend the broken leg that much. So right now it's very asymmetrical and I spend all of my energy figuring out where my legs should be in an open tuck. Could you do like a more open one so I can see more or less what the tuck is?
Yeah. And also I think like what I said, if you focus on the foundation, you could still like have, let's say, one leg in your very deep tuck and the other one more open. I don't know where your bend is right now, right?
Yeah.
So basically check your alignment and maybe have one deep tuck if that gives you orientation, or find both of your legs just more up.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't matter really for me where my legs are because the foundation is the same. So maybe even start from your straight handstand and just let the legs drop and see where they want to end up right now.
Gosh, thank you.
Sure.
Is that the same with the frog shape? Like if you're having trouble coming into that pitchfork shape, then you're a little bit too arched.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean the way I like to, yeah. I mean the way I like to teach handstands is that the foundation is very strong, and that's why the leg shape doesn't matter so much, because it also feels better for me. Because if I have to adjust my foundation the whole time, it would make it very hard to go from one shape to the next. And then also it's a lot of balancing. It would be a lot on my wrist to keep doing that. And yeah, I like to spend a lot of time upside down. So then I don't want to move all the time because otherwise my forearms get very tired. But I don't know if I understand your question correctly. What do you mean with the frog shape being the same?
I guess like when I come up to straight, I often fall out. Let's see if I can get a good example of it. Oh. Well, I can't really get a good frog, but when I have my frog and I come up, I go back that way.
Yeah.
And when I have it pulled in, I feel the legs are able to go up easier. Whereas I think that's a sign that I'm pretty arched, is when the legs go up, they're already behind me.
Yeah, but what I think I saw earlier and now is when you go up, you think with the legs a bit too much back.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can also try what I was just showing Saul, but you can like kick up or go from a straight handstand and try to either find the tuck or the frog. And as you do that, try to keep the foundation the same. I find the down with the legs is usually a bit easier than going from down to up.
Mm.
And then maybe you start in your straight kick up, find the down, and then try to go up the same way to have the same line.
Okay.
I also have a question. For me, it feels really impossible to go in a deep tuck, and I don't know, is it a strength issue in the shoulders, or so it's hard to hold this position, or is it technique?
For me, it was really hard to hold this position. Yes.
So it's normal to
Yeah,
to build
and
the strength.
usually what makes it hard, I'm gonna try to show you from the side, is when the shoulders are like slightly forward and then you're trying to go here.
Yeah.
That's really hard. So I would recommend you in the beginning to not go to your deepest tuck.
Okay.
To like find a tuck that's a bit more relaxed
Mm.
way, but having still the shoulders and hips on top of each other.
So it's shoulder opening and strength.
Yeah, because if
Okay.
you keep it slightly closed, it's going to be very heavy for you.
Okay.
So
Then
yeah,
maybe it's
better have a good alignment, and then the deep tuck will come later.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, tuck was really hard to work on for me. Okay. You can keep working on your tuck if you want. I also want to give you some variations for different kind of tucks. If you want to do them, you don't have to do them. So one option would be you find your tuck and just cross your legs, and you can cross them either way. One tuck variation that I really like that should also work for your leg sole is just having one leg actually slightly more open and one in a deep tuck. So basically you have one foot on top of the knee and use that in your tuck. So the top leg is quite relaxed and the lower leg is actually in a deep compression. And then a more easier one would be just doing a single leg tuck or stack. And you can also do that into a deep version or having it more relaxed on the height of the hip. So play around with those if you like. If it's too much information in your brain, feel also free to just keep working on the tuck. Nice, Rebecca. Nice, Eric. Super strong line. Nice. I like that position for the shoulders. Even though the knees are bending, and I know it's inviting when, like, it's the same actually when we stand. When we bend the knees, it somehow seems easier to stick the butt out. And it's a lot harder to keep the length in the lower back, kind of pull the ribs forward in the pelvis and stay very nice on top. But this is what's going to be easier in your handstand. If you're stuck here, then you can't go anywhere. Like if you would go from this position into a straight handstand, you would probably fall out to the back. If it helps you to try it standing, go ahead and try it standing, where you really, before you go down, think of growing up, and even though you're bending and going down, you still keep the length in your spine. Just imagining someone pulling you on your hands should help you keeping the spine nice and straight. Kind of like when we bend the knees, we think of sitting down, just upside down, and we want to go against that. Nice. Yes. Feel free to take breaks. I'm also going to show you one drill for the shoulders, for your tuck that you don't have to do in your handstand. Actually, you can imagine the canes at a wall, and you basically want to put either your hands on the wall, or if you have a table, that's fine. And then you just want to bend the knees and keep the spine straight. The tendency is either to arch and do something like this, or when we bend the knees, to round the spine. So here you can, even if you have a wall, you can kind of push into the wall and think of pulling the ribs back to create that space to bend the knees. And then you can do a few here, kind of bending and extending. All these drills are just trying to create a movement pattern in your body. When you bend, see if you can extend the space between the shoulders and the hips. Like pull that away from each other. Nice. What you feel here when you bend the knees, that the shoulders round a bit, is what you feel in your handstand and what you want to fight against. You want to keep the shoulders open and the shoulder blades together, even though when the knees come down, we do want to kind of round. And that's why I like this drill with the wall too, to kind of observe that pattern, that I almost have to push in the shoulders more when the knees come down or bend more. Okay, before we get too tired on this, I want to move to the next one. I'm going to do a little preparation exercise. And it's basically just doing a half split, but with a pointed toe in the front and finding shoulders and hip on top of each other. Lift the arms up. If you want to challenge your balance, you can also lift your front leg. Not necessary. It's more about finding hips and shoulders and knee aligned. One, take a moment to lift the leg up. You basically want to do the same in handstands. Give you options. Show it first without the wall. So you use a shape where you bend the back leg and basically do the same shape that we now did on our hands and knees. It will feel a lot easier upside down. You can do that with having quite some space between you and the wall, so you have enough space to bend and the front leg is straight, and then you can float off the wall. So you need at least like a shin distance between the wall, belly to wall. You want to still use the back knee, and maybe the lower leg floats off because the rest of the body is in very good alignment. Just do one or two. We want to use that as an entry for the next shape. The leg in the front that's straight can always pull you down. And then you still want to use the same compression that we used in the beginning of class in the front leg. With the back leg in the back, it's also inviting to arch. So focus on the foundation. Nice. Yes, looking good. Nice. Very good, everyone. Looks great. I'm going to show you what we want to do, and then I show you the variations. We want to use the same shape and then just moving the back knee to the front knee. And then maybe you come down like this. I do like the opening of the back, and I want to keep the foundation when I bring the leg to the front. If you come down because it's heavy in the front, that's totally fine. It takes some energy to build up to the shape. If you do it belly to wall, you still start here. Then you can either just bring the knee to the front and try to hold it with the support, or if you have a moment of float, you can bring it in and try to do the negative. Then you can also do it the back to the wall. You find your shape here, set the foundation first, and meet the knee to the other knee. Maybe you find a moment of balance. Maybe you just use it as an exit. All options are fine. If the straight leg is too much, or if it feels too heavy, you can also go into a tuck, going from here. Then you have to bend both knees, which adds more because you have to change the shape twice, but it will feel a bit lighter because bent legs are a bit lighter than a straight leg.
That's very heavy. Yes.
Yeah, it might also help to have, when you bring this leg to the front, bringing the legs a bit higher, because if you're in a deep pike, of course, it is quite heavy. So yeah, like either play around with the tuck, or when you bring it to the front, keep the leg a bit higher. But it's more that I want to focus on the compression on the way down with that shape.
Jules, can I ask a question? Sure. So when you go into the knees together, is you try to test the same, like that the back stays the same the whole time, so I'm going not in a little back bend to counterbalance the shape.
No, I'm not really going into a back bend, but from the side, because it's a half pike, it looks like the hips are back. I can try to show you the difference. If I'm here and I'm bringing it here, it comes more from pulling this leg in that the hips go back. This would be the back bend and then I would fall out. So I'm trying to kind of like pull the hip in. See, maybe I can do it like this. Yeah. I can lay down on the ground and there's space, or I can lay down on the ground and pulling the leg in to ground my lower back. And that's kind of how I feel in handstand too. If I don't do the suction of the leg back, then I'm kind of stuck in a deep back bend, and then I couldn't move to a straight handstand from there because then my ribs are out.
Okay.
So
Cool.
maybe,
Thanks.
like I said to Emily, don't go so low so you don't have to arch so much to compensate for the leg in the front.
Okay.
Because it's also flexibility, right? Like you probably feel more your hamstring pulling than your lower back.
No, it's like, no, I think like it's still the shoulder position. I think in the hamstrings I maybe could do it, but whatever. I tried to. Thanks. It answered my question already. Thank you.
I'll watch it one more time. Yeah. Keep the back of the shoulders. Nice. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Yeah, and that would be also an option, actually, what you did now. No, it was great. For the people who want to keep the front leg a tiny bit bent, that also takes out a bit of weight. But now the spine alignment and the shoulder alignment was really good. Yeah. Okay, you can keep practicing that. I just want to give you a more playful option for the last couple handstands we do before we transition towards flexibility and conditioning. Something that I really like doing also in my own practice is that you start in your straight handstand, you can kick up however you want, and then from there you kind of drop a shape, meaning either you go into your straddle or you just drop one leg or you drop both legs. And the idea is, again, to keep the foundation the same. So if I would just kick up into a straight handstand and then either drop both legs to the side or drop just one leg or both. And because when we kind of drop the legs down, usually there's like this like bouncing or sinking into the spine, what we want to try to get rid of. So we want to keep the length from the wrist to the hips and have the legs independently be heavy. Again, if you've never tried it, maybe start with the wall as a backup, and when you drop, you can still also touch the feet to the wall, go back up to straight. I find it a very fun exercise, and you could also try to do it in a headstand or something if you're tired on your wrists. Otherwise, if that is too much, just try to go back to a straight handstand before we end the shapes and the practice that we did today. Start slow. Imagine more like all of a sudden you have very heavy legs, then dropping them very heavily and pull yourself out of alignment. Nice. Good. All these exercises are meant to build a strong foundation for your handstand. Also try to just, for today, do it with the arms. Think of growing out of your spine and just drop the arms, but keeping the length in the spine. So even if the arms drop and get very heavy, I'm not sinking with my arms down in any position. We have to isolate a lot of different parts of our body to be able to do the things upside down. Nice. Nice. Bit of one last go if you like. Otherwise, just have a moment of break. And then if you're down already, make the back of the wrists again. Draw out your wrists for a few circles. Both directions. And then with your left hand, grab the thumb and just open the palm. With your right, grab the left thumb and stretch out the front of the hand. And then take a moment to interlace the hands behind the head and neck and release the back of the neck. Get the fingers facing towards you, bend one elbow at a time to open front of the chest. And then arch around the spine for a few. Then if you have a block, take your block and put it in between your shoulder blades. We just do a few shoulder circles. If you need another pillow for your head, go grab that. We just want to lift the arms up over the head and then over the side. Let's do 5 of those. As you inhale, lift the arms up. Still imagine the arms being heavy. And then open over the side. I like to imagine to sink into the block, and sometimes just that feeling cracks some of my vertebrae and my spine. I always feel like there is an element of sinking in handstands and one element of extending and lengthening and growing up. Like I always want to find a sinking sensation, for example, in my hands to really connect to the ground and feel where my balance point is. But on the other side, I want to keep lengthening through my legs and through my spine. After you've done your 5 circles on the block, you can slowly come back up. Now we go to the seated part that I was talking about. So I'm going to grab a chair. And see how I show you this one best. Any surface that's higher than a block, and we want to use the block putting on the thighs and belly. As I reach up my hands and finding my tuck position, I want to keep thinking of reaching out and then placing my ribs onto the block to keep the compression. If you would do that and you would just go forward and not have the compression, kind of sticking the ribs out, the block will slide. So just try a few, reaching up, finding your handstand, kind of lifting over because you're still lengthening as you place your ribs and thighs on top of each other. As soon as you round or you arch, you will push the block away. So let's do a few repetitions here. I can come watch. Some of you are changing the shoulder angle a lot. So, meaning some of you are rounding the shoulders a lot or having a very wide handstand all of a sudden. I would rather have your good, like shoulder width apart, and you're not going so low, but keeping the spine nice and straight instead of rounding here or being very wide to go down to the block. Nice, good corrections. Yes. Try to feel the back of the shoulders. Nice. At the lowest point, it should feel heavy to keep the shoulders lifting up and back. Nice. Good work. Much better alignment. So this is a drill you can do without even being warm, but it will get you warm very quickly when you do it right. Okay. Take the chair. You can put the block in between your hands. Give yourself a little tricep stretch. Also here, we don't want to hang into our lower back. Want to keep the lower back long. If it's okay, you can relax the head and neck. Even though I'm trying to sink my chest down, I also imagine pushing my elbows out to the front and pulling my sacrum back. And you can slowly come out of it. Shake it out for a moment. For the conditioning today, I want to go into attack, and I give you options. I show you the options. If you know, you can just do attack. Don't have to watch. If you do it belly to wall, I want you to just switch between pulling one heel in at a time, finding kind of like a half tuck. And you could do the same if you kick against the wall. You bring one leg in, put it back, and pull the other knee in. Otherwise, if you know, you can hold your tuck handstand. You can just go into your tuck handstand. I'm gonna take the time. We want to go up to a minute. If you need to come down and have a break in between, feel free to do that. Make your choice, or easiest version would be doing it on the back, on the block, what we did earlier with the drill, and just holding it, laying down on the ground. Okay, let's go up in 3, 2, 1. Finding a good alignment and finding your breath. That's all you should be worried about in your conditioning. Yes, nice shoulder and hip position. Get the shoulders a bit more in Nirvana to the table. Like open them more. Yeah, nice, good. Emily, get the hands a bit closer to the wall actually. You're a bit too far away. Nice. And now try to pull your hips over with the ribs. Try to make it more, yes, that, what you just did. Nice, Rebecca. 45 seconds. So good. Very nice. We're almost there. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can slowly come down. Super nice, everyone. Also, good choices to work on your individual thing. Let's just lay down on the belly, actually. Get one arm out to the side. And just pull the knees to the opposite side. Give some weight into your plank. Let the shoulder relax. Side of the neck long. If it feels too heavy with the arm bent, you can straighten it, but you know the variations. Straighten out the legs to come back to the center. Bend your opposite arm and bring knees in. Check in with your opposite shoulder. Bring it back to the center. And tent your fingertips. Maybe this way is better. With the elbows up and just bring one shoulder in at a time to invite a little twist. And then you can bring the hands under the shoulders and just do a few big circles, rolling the shoulders up to the ears, pulling the elbows down. And just place your hands under your forehead, bend both of your knees, and windshield wipe your legs from right to left. And any other stretch or decompression that you need for your body today, take some more moments to finish your practice. I really enjoyed the process we had today. And as a homework, choose any of the tuck variations that we did today to refine them. And that might be just a drill that we did where you felt like this is the drill, the medicine that I need for where I am in my practice. I trust you to make the right choice. Feel free also to send it to me if you have questions. And otherwise, I wish you beautiful rest of your evening or day, depending on where you are on the world. And I see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you. This
Thank
one
you.
was very helpful for me. So
Nice.
thanks.
Okay, cool that you could make it.
Bye, people. Thanks, Jules.
Thank you. So
Take care.
say take care.
Thank you very much. It was hard, but it was
You.
good.
It's good. Your shoulders are getting much better.
Getting better. That's the most
Yeah,
important.
yeah. Super nice.
Happy for it. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Danke, es hat Spaß gemacht.
Fand's auch schön, dass du dabei warst.
Wo macht man das hier? Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Danke, Jules.
Danke dir auch. Wie ist es mit deiner Schulter, wenn du da in dem Takt bist, so wie wir ihn heute gemacht haben?
Naja, viel besser. Also ich hatte insgesamt heute also eigentlich so gut wie keine Schmerzen. Am Ende habe ich ein bisschen die Konzentration verloren. Aber
Okay.
mega viel gelernt und vor allem auch, dass der Tuck halt nicht so ein krasser, also kein Backbend ist. Schon eine Counterbalance, aber kein Backbend. Das habe ich bisher immer gedacht.
Nee,
Und das,
genau, aber ich glaube, dadurch, dass deine Schultern, wenn die Schulterblätter so rausstehen, dann
mhm,
muss dein Rücken eigentlich fast so ein bisschen im Arch sein, um das zu kompensieren. Aber wenn wir das jetzt korrigieren, kannst
mhm.
du halt auch hier reingehen und deine Schultern sind dann mit deinem Core verankert. Und dann sind das nicht so zwei unabhängige Teile quasi.
Ja, voll. Also es ist viel stabiler und es ist schmerzfrei auf jeden Fall.
Ja,
Es ist, also war richtig geile Erkenntnis heute. Voll viel gelernt. Also nicht nur das.
voll.
Vielen Dank. Auf jeden
Gerne.
Fall. Und ja, keine Ahnung. Jetzt muss ich es halt nur noch rekreieren. Also ich habe es irgendwie intuitiv gemacht. Ich habe es noch nicht verstanden, was ich so gemacht habe. Aber dieses, was du gesagt hast, die Shapes halt irgendwie, die kann ich ja nur machen, wenn die Foundation halt korrekt ist. Andererseits, wie du schon sagst, muss ich irgendwas korrigieren oder ich falle dann raus oder so.
Ja. Ja,
Ja,
deswegen macht es halt manchmal sind auch die Shapes vielleicht, die du schon kannst, einfach die easy Version davon zu machen, weißt du, anstatt zu sagen, ich gehe in einen Deep Tuck oder einen krassen Straddle, zu sagen, du machst
ja,
die Lazy Tuck und Straddle Version, aber bist so
ja,
verbunden mit deiner Foundation, dass du halt merkst, dass egal was der Shape ist, du halt da hingehen kannst.
ja, voll.